Hi guys, welcome back. Well, today we are talking about foundations and my foundation collection. And oh, by the way, I just filmed this look, so if you're curious to see how I did it, I will link that video below. So I mentioned in a previous video that I was going to share my foundation collection with you and kind of rank my favorites because I've been talking a lot about foundation lately, reviewing foundations, and I thought it just might be helpful to see what I'm still liking, what do I love, what do I not. Some things, it really depends on the time of year what I use, so that's maybe why you don't hear me talk about a particular one for a long time, because maybe I only use that in the summer months, or maybe the shade's a little off, so that's why I don't wear it. So first off, let me just start by how I've been applying my foundation. If you've been watching any of my Get Ready With Me or foundation review videos, you've seen I've solely been using the Beauty Blender recently. I just find as my skin is aging, this is making the foundation look a lot nicer on my skin. I find that I usually like a foundation a little bit better when I'm using this. And this is also really great at this time of year. If your skin's a little dry, I think it just adds that nice little bit of moisture as you're applying it. It feels really good. Also, these are great to use if you are using a little bit heavier of a foundation. If not, I will use like a flat top kabuki type brush. I have several, but this has been my go-to recently. So I'm gonna kind of start with my top foundations, and these are the foundations that whenever I put them on, my skin always just looks good. It's like, oh, that's what I want my skin to look like. Of course, I will venture away from some of these time to time when I'm trying out new ones, or like I said, depending on the time of year, what kind of coverage I'm wanting. There's all these different factors that come into play for me because I feel like my skin is always changing a little. Some days it's more blotchy, some days it's more clear, so that kind of all depends. So maybe this will help you if you hear, kind of why I like something. I have to say, one of my favorite foundations of all time, I think I mentioned this in maybe a previous video, like when I did best foundations of the drugstore. This is one of those foundations, every time I put it on, I'm like, oh, this is why I love this. My skin just looks good. This is the Neutrogena Healthy Skin. Now, I have mine in a plastic pump. These are on Amazon. If I can find it for you, I will definitely link it below. What I do is just take the sticker off the back of the bottle, because they do come in a glass bottle, and put it in this pump. It's easy to travel with. I love it. Now, the reason why I don't wear this all the time, and definitely not as much in the winter, this is shade 40, by the way. It's called Nude. I've tried shade 30. The tone is a little off for me, even though it's lighter, so I don't love that one. 40 is really good. It's more of kind of a neutral shade, but it's a slight bit too dark for me this time of year. So you don't hear me talk about this a lot, but I absolutely love this. It's been called a dupe for NARS Sheer Glow. That I don't know because I've never used NARS Sheer Glow. But I absolutely love this. This is one of my top foundation favorites of all time. Let's just stick with the drugstore, shall we? Because I actually have a few favorites. And again, you saw these mentioned in that favorite foundations from the drugstore. Next is what I'm wearing. This has been a favorite off and on. I can always go back to, rely on it. My skin's gonna look great. It's gonna cover what I need to. Ever since they came out with this, it's been a favorite. That's the CoverGirl. This is the 3-in-1 Outlast Stay Fabulous. I have it in the color 825, which is buff beige. Absolutely love this foundation for great coverage. It has a really nice lasting power on me. It will stay pretty much the whole day. I don't think I have to touch it up at all. Maybe in my T-zone sometimes in the summertime. I know this is a favorite of a lot of people. You just can't go wrong with this one. This is something you've heard me talk off and on about for years. This is the CoverGirl Nolay. This is the Simply Ageless, and I have it in the color 220. Really love this. This is a cream foundation, and I used to solely wear this years ago. This is one of those foundations, if I want something quick and I know I need a lot of coverage, this is a go-to. I love cream foundations because they cover really well. This one, like I said, is quick if you put a brush in it. I've not tried this with the Beauty Blender, and that's probably why I've not been wearing it lately, just because I have been using the Beauty Blender. I'm sure you probably could, but with a brush, I've done videos, I know with this, again, tap the brush in there, and just go all over your face really quickly, and it gives absolutely great coverage. So you'll hear a theme throughout this video for me. I like really good coverage, but of course I don't want it to look too heavy or too cakey. Next would be the Guerlain Lingerie de Peau. A lot of you have asked me if I still like this, do I recommend it? It is a pricey foundation. I do have a full review on this, which I will link below. I'll probably give you a little bit more information. I don't want to go into too much information on each individual foundation here, especially if I have reviews on them. So I will link the reviews below if I have them. I actually brought this out not too long ago when I took my new headshot pictures. Really love this. I knew I just needed a foundation that was going to look good and good in photos. Had this on then, love it. Every time I wear this in a video, I get a lot of compliments on my makeup and my skin that day. So highly recommend this still. Do really like it. It is pricey, it comes with a pump, but to me, it's worth every penny. This is definitely one of my top high-end foundations. I have another one that I'll talk about, but this definitely, if you're going to spend the money on something, I recommend this one. I really like it. And I am in the color 12 in this one. So let's continue to talk about some high-end foundations now, since I mentioned that one. My next favorite would definitely be one of my newest one. This is the Estee Lauder. This is the Perfectionist. Really like this one. Again, I have a review on it, so I'll link it below. I'm in the color 2-in-1, which is Desert Beige. Really like the coverage on this. It doesn't settle into fine lines and wrinkles, so it's great for like my aging skin. And some days I wake up and I feel like I look like I have a lot more fine lines and wrinkles than I did the day before. Like, it just totally depends. And again, that makes a difference on what foundation I feel like I'm going to use that day. So again, really like this one. Definitely more information in that review. I think I pretty much covered everything I could think of. So I'll list that below, but really love this one. And a lot of you have asked me then, comparing some of my higher end foundations, what would I choose? So these are definitely my top two favorite, which is the Estee Lauder Perfectionist and the Lingerie de Peau by Guerlain. One of the first foundations that I started reviewing recently was the Dior Skin. This is the Star Foundation. It's gotten a lot of talk here on YouTube. I have it in the color 10. I would have to say, if I have to go back, I would not purchase this one since I've tried this. I like the Perfectionist definitely more than the Star, but that's just for my skin. The Star is great sometimes, other times it's not. It's really finicky. You have to work with it sometimes. And then there's those other times you just put it on, it looks great. I think every single one of us has said that, or most of us anyway, about this foundation. I do like it. And it was enough for me to keep it and like it, because those days where it does look good, because it really makes your skin look great. But if I had to go back and do it again, I wouldn't purchase this one. Something I mentioned, I think, recently in a haul is I got the YSL Touche Éclat foundation. I did return that. I tried it, I think, twice. It ended up looking good the first day, but then I didn't like it the second time, and I just thought, you know what? For this much money, I don't like it. I definitely don't like it as much as these two, so I'm just going to exchange it for something else. Another high-end foundation that I like, but I have not used this probably this whole year, because honestly, I probably need a new bottle is why. But that's the Vita Lumiere Aqua by Chanel. I used this, I think, last summer and the summer before. Again, this is just a great foundation for just giving a really pretty, flawless look, but not looking too made up. Like, I can still see some, freckling, and that's okay with me, but it just makes my skin look really good. I'm not sure if I would repurchase this again, though, because I found, the Estee Lauder and the Guerlain that I like just as well. However, I do like the packaging because it's so small and it's plastic. If you were wondering where that was in my collection, if you'd seen me talk about it before, I do still have it, but it's probably getting a little old. And speaking of that, if there's some foundations you don't hear me talking about, it's probably because I've gotten rid of them because they're old. Okay, the Estee Lauder Double Wear Maximum Cover. I've only worn this a handful of times. It's definitely too much coverage for me on a day-to-day basis. Like, if I know I'm going to get photos taken, or I want to be really made up, like beautifully flawless, cover everything, I will still use this and I still like it. However, it's just not a day-to-day foundation for me because I just don't need that much coverage. And I'm in the color 1in3 Creamy Vanilla in this, by the way. Same thing kind of goes with these two foundation as the Chanel. They're getting a little old. I should probably toss them, but because I can't get them very easily here, I've held on to them, but still absolutely love these and would recommend these. These are both from Bourjois. I know you can get them from ASOS and a couple other sites online. I have the 1, 2, 3 Perfect, and then I have the Healthy Mix. To me, the Healthy Mix is probably my favorite. I do have them in two different colors, and they're kind of two different tones here. I have it in 56 and 52. This one's definitely more of a rosy tone. And that's probably why I don't wear these a lot that much either, is because neither one of them is a great color match for me, although I do really like both of these. I've talked about both of them in past favorites, I'm sure. I wore them a lot last year. I'm pretty sure I wore the 123 Perfect last year to a Christmas party. Again, really love both of these. They're just not readily available, so I don't talk about them a whole lot. I'm also not going to mention any BB or CC creams in this video because I've already done a separate video on that, ranking my top 5, and I will list that below if you're curious. So getting down to the end here, the Estee Lauder, this is the Double Wear Light, and I have it in the color 2.0. I have to say, this is kind of hit and miss for me. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. It's supposed to just be a lighter version of actual Double Wear. I don't think I've ever tried the Double Wear that I recall. If I have, I don't remember, or maybe it was just a sample. I ended up picking this up because I had a sample of this and I really liked it. To me, this is solely a summer foundation for me. I don't really like it in the winter. My face gets too dry. This like makes every little spot show up that's dry. So this to me is a summer only foundation. So again, that's why you don't hear me talk about it a lot. And it just really depends on my mood that day, what kind of coverage I want. So this isn't one I reach for a lot. I really like this foundation, but let's face it, it's old. I've had it a couple of years now. I think I just hold on to this, which I said I wasn't going to do anymore, but this one I hold on to just for color reference and kind of to remind me, oh, you should go buy a new bottle of this or a new jar. This is the Revlon, this is the Color Stay Whipped. I really do like this foundation a lot. I think I just don't rush out and buy a new one because of the packaging is bulky. It's one of those, to me, I'd rather it be in a squeeze tube or something that's easier to work with. I have it in the color 240 Natural Beige, which is a little slightly dark for me this time of year. That's another reason why you probably don't hear me talk about it. This one is, you know, more than halfway gone. I do like this foundation. Again, I don't talk about it anymore. I haven't reached for it in a long time, just for those reasons. I did want to just do kind of an honorable mention here. I've not mentioned this foundation. I've had it for probably a month or so now. It's the CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgeous, and I bought this because I was curious to see how it compared to the CoverGirl 3-in-1 Outlast Stay Fabulous. To me, they are very similar. I have to say, I've been reaching for this one a lot lately. They both have really great staying power, but for me, I might like this one a little bit more. They're very, very similar though, I think. I have this one in 115, which is buff beige. This one's also buff beige. If you're familiar with CoverGirl's numbering system, they always might not be the same number, but the color should match. I love the packaging of this. It would be super travel friendly because of the squeeze tube. I don't know, to me, they're kind of interchangeable. I like them both the same. I just have a feeling some days when I wear this, I don't know, I feel like I almost like it a slight bit more than this one. But anyway, I'd mentioned to you guys that I was testing something out to see if it compared to this. So to me, these are kind of interchangeable, and I do have this in my collection. So if I was just going to do a top 4, again, it's those first 4 I mentioned, not really in any particular order. So I have 2 high-end and 2 drugstore. The Neutrogena Healthy Skin, absolutely love that. The CoverGirl 3-in-1 Outlast Stay Fabulous. The Estee Lauder Perfectionist, and the Guerlain Lingerie de Peau. So those are definitely my top 4. So hopefully you guys found this helpful. I gave you some information. Again, any actual reviews of these particular foundations, you can see me applying it. I give a lot more information in those reviews. I will list them below. And hopefully this gave you some options, both high-end and drugstore. And if you've seen me talk about foundations in the past, and maybe I haven't mentioned them recently, this hopefully clears that up for you. I would love to know in the comments below what your favorite foundation is. If it's at the moment or of all time, let me know, because I'm always curious about trying new foundations. I love foundation. That's probably my biggest weakness as far as where makeup is concerned. So I hope you found this helpful. I really appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.